Hi, I'm Hazel, it's Saturday again, and welcome back to the place where I talk about WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. And do we ever have WoW news this week? So just in case you are living under the most quiet of rocks and you've missed it, Shadowlands now has an official release date. It is going to be launching globally at the same time for everybody on October 27th, which is 27th for people in kind of Europe and then Oceania. And then for us here in North America, it's actually a little bit earlier than that on the 26th, so kind of like a Monday-Tuesday split, but it'll be at the same time for everybody depending on where it is that you live. So this is sooner than I expected. Whenever people asked me for estimates, I was guessing November launch with like an October pre-patch, and this is new. I'm so excited just to have a date to like mark in the calendar and look forward to and count down the days. Whenever you go to the official World of Warcraft website, there is a great big timer just like ticking down all the time, which is really helping me get in the mood for Shadowlands. I can wait. I will wait, but it's hard. The one thing that we don't know yet date-wise, this has been a week of a lot of dates announced, but at least as of recording this, we do not yet know what the Shadowlands pre-patch date will be, but we can guess. They've stated roughly like a 4 to 6 week pre-patch length would be expected. I would not be surprised if it's a slightly longer pre-patch than usual, just because of all the changes that are going in this time around. We've got a level squish, we have a bunch of new class changes, we have a ton of new customization. It makes sense to give people more time with those things ahead of Shadowlands. So if we take that 4 to 6 week estimate and we plonk it on a calendar, that gives us a potential pre-patched release date anywhere in the September 15th through 29th ish range, so potentially as early as 2 weeks from now. But as of right now, we don't know for sure. And I bet you they give us like 2 weeks notice. I guess I don't know that. I betcha. Maybe not. Now I'm doubting myself. So speaking of pre-patch, this is a great time for a deadlines reminder to kind of revisit what things are going away and becoming no longer available with pre-patch and later with Shadowlands launch. Referring to the official Blizzard post, we can see that Keystone Master and the Awakened Minotaur mount is going away with pre-patch. The Caravan Brutosaur Auctioneer mount is going to be leaving its vendor with the Shadowlands pre-patch, so you potentially don't have a ton of time left on that. I wish the very best of luck to those of you still farming gold. The Faceless One title from Horrific Visions is another one going away with pre-patch. That is for doing a solo 5-mask full clear of both the Horrific Vision of Orgrimmar and Stormwind. It gives you the Mad World achievement, the Faceless One title. You have until pre-patch to get that done if you want it. And Ahead of the Curve and Cutting Edge achievements will no longer be available after pre-patch as well. So those are kind of like your hard and fast pre-patch deadlines. You've got a little bit more time if you're trying to get the Uncorrupted Voidwing mount for killing N'Zoth before Shadowlands. That one you will have right up until Shadowlands launch, so you have until October the 27th or 26th, depending on your region, in order to get that done. The Azeroth's Champion title for getting every rank 4 essence is going to be no longer available with Shadowlands launch. And then if you have been farming the Glacial Tidestorm from Mythic Jaina, that's another one. It won't be going away with Shadowlands launch, but it's going to change from a 2 guaranteed drops for every Mythic kill to a 1% chance to drop as people eventually start to solo farm it as opposed to doing it in groups. But that one's not that tough to cheese these days, especially with an organized group. And if you can scrape together the same group of people to do it a couple of times every week, especially if everybody's got like an alt or two they can also take through it, that way you can funnel all of the mounts to the people within the group so that within a set frame of time everybody can get them, and you still have time to do that if you do a couple of runs every week. Other dates that we learned about this week, we now know exactly when the Castle Nathria raid is going to launch, and that is November 10th, which is 2 weeks after the Shadowlands launch. Of course, the initial opening is on Normal and Heroic, with Mythic and LFR unlocking the week after that, or at least the first wing of LFR. LFR gets quite a slow rollout. It's not going to be completely available until January sometime. But yeah, November 10th for the opening of the doors of November and Heroic Castle Nathria. 2 weeks, I think, is a shorter gap than we've had recently in previous expansions to like get leveled and get set up, but it should, based on what I've seen from beta so far, it should be plenty of time to get your character leveled up and kind of started in your Covenant and scrape together a nice set of dungeon gear for yourself to take with you into the Castle Nathria raid. And I wouldn't stress too much if your stuff isn't perfect yet, because that's what the raid is for. You're going to get stuff in there. We also know that Season 1 of Mythic Plus and PvP will start on that same date on November 10th. Also this week, Blizzard dropped a brand new animated short at Gamescom called Afterlives Bastion. This is the first in a set of 4 animated shorts coming out to kind of set the scene for Shadowlands, similar to how Warbringer set the scene for BFA, and the Lords of War sort of set things up for Warlords of Draenor. So the first one is out, it's available on YouTube, I will link it below in case you haven't seen it yet, and it deals with Uther and Arthas and what Uther's been up to these days since he died and stuff. I watched it by myself when it first came out, and I really liked it. I think these are kind of the perfect way to give people like me, who only pay like 65% attention to quest text and whatnot, more context about what's going on when we go into Shadowlands. I feel like I'll be more interested in quest text and cutscenes with, you know, narratives to kind of connect them to that I'm already familiar with from having seen them in these really exciting sort of short form videos. There's going to be one themed around each covenant, and we do have release dates for those, so we can expect them on September 3rd, 10th, and then 17th for the last one. And that is a potential clue towards a potential... I mean, I've heard people speculating that the Shadowlands pre-patch will land after the last Afterlives cinematic. That would be fun, and it does kind of fit the guesstimated timeline, so I guess I can hop on board that theory. They also released a themed print from that first Afterlives video, available on the Blizzard Gear store as like a matted art print or also as a canvas. I'm curious to see if they're gonna do that for all of them. It would be kind of like super really expensive, but like a set of 4 of them would be pretty neat. And in my life this week, in game, I have been working on getting the last couple of reps done for 100 Exalted Reputations. I really want that Pure Heart Courser before Shadowlands. And the very last one that I'm going to get is going to be the Oracle. So I've been out there in Shelazar Basin every day doing dailies. And I know this is very, very, very old content at this point, but I'm kind of getting attached to like my cute little morning routine. I like sit down with my cup of coffee and I take LeFou out to go hunt for shinies, and I think I'm gonna miss him when I'm done. I also got a little bit more work done on my tattoo this week. I had another session, got some more outlining done. I'm not going back in until October, so I've got a little ways to wait, and it's kind of crazy to think about how pre-patch is probably going to be out by the time I go back in, and it's going to be like almost Shadowlands, and everything in my brain, every date is now framed in context of when Shadowlands and pre-patch might be out. Like, I get milk out of the fridge and I see the expiration date on it, and I'm like, wow, we're gonna have Shadowlands by then. Also, milk lasts a really long time. And one more thing, I am going to be retiring the Joker and Kira merch from my merch store in 2 weeks on September the 12th. I'm going to be taking it down. The mug is going to be sticking around, so don't worry too much about that one, but everything with Kira and Joker on it is going to be retired on September the 12th. I am planning a new merch drop for not right after that, but sometime a little bit later in the fall, whenever it's ready and I'm happy with it. And questions for this week, Brandon asks, do you work for Blizzard? The easy answer here is no, I super don't. I do not work for Blizzard, but I thought this was a really good opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about influencer relationships and also biases in media, especially about games and especially like, you know, Twitch and YouTube and sort of like user-generated media. So I do not work for Blizzard. They do not pay me. I am not their employee. That is quite cut and dry, but I do have what is called an influencer relationship with them. I guess I don't know if it's like called that, but that's what I'm going to use to call it. So what that means is while they don't pay me directly, I do receive things like beta access, like media pass access to events, and occasional free promotional swag that they hope that I have around and then people see it and want to buy it. Nothing that you see in my background was sent to me for free. I bought all of this stuff that you see, but I do own a few Blizzard things that they did give me for free. That relationship and the fact that I really, really want to keep things like beta access in particular for the sake of making videos, it makes it impossible for my content to be completely unbiased. However, this kind of works for me because I am not really a tear everything down and be super negative person anyways, like regardless of whether I have a relationship to preserve. So I don't feel like it's really changing the decisions I would be making, although of course on some level I'm sure that it is. That's not to say that any of this is a bad thing. I think that it's very natural for people to be influenced by stuff. I think that the best thing that we can do as human beings is be as honest as we can with each other and with ourselves about the biases that are driving our actions and our views and the things that feed into those biases. That might mean taking my positive opinions with a grain of salt for aforementioned reasons, but it also works the other way. Somebody that has a consistently really negative view about anything really, they are incentivized to do that by how our media, and our internet media in particular, really rewards things that are sensational and negative. They just get more traffic and more clicks on those articles and tweets and videos. So there are biases and reasons for people to behave that way as well. And I think the best thing that we can do is be honest and try our best to think for ourselves. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer in one of these news videos, please leave it in the comments of the most recent news video and include the hashtag AskHazel somewhere in there to help me find it. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye. Kitty cat, what are you doing? Here, my cat wants to play fetch, and nobody will believe me if I don't film this, so hang on just a sec. Okay, bring it here. Bring it here. You didn't bring it back. She can bring it back.